Namaste, beautiful souls, and welcome to this episode of Truth and Tarot Time, where we have guests, guidance, and tarot wisdom. And as you can see, I have a very, very special guest today. I have my very possessive, I can share her. I have my lovely Liz. Now, if you don't know Liz, you can check out on the channel. I've done self-mastery with Liz Nagle. There's also a whole section on the astrologer, the mystic, and the tarot reader, which Liz and I do regularly with Amy Bird. And anyone that's read this book will know that I mention my good friend and mentor, Liz. And this is Liz. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here.
And of course, I couldn't do a series like this without having the lovely Liz on. So I am super excited and looking forward to some words of wisdom. No pressure.
Yeah, do my best.
So what we've decided, well, what we're going to do is we're just going to pull a few cards. Oh, yes, I was going to mention that Liz has also done my online tarot reading course,
Yeah.
but she's a bit reluctant to mention that because she said she's forgotten a lot of it. But that's good because I reassured her that you would remember the bits that you need to remember. And actually, Liz reads the Thoth Tarot, which, yes, I absolutely love that deck. And so we will come over to you later for maybe some clarification or for some extra words of wisdom. We'll see. We're going to go with the
Card that came
flow.
out was the Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Discs.
The Queen
And
of Pentacles already.
well, Queen of Discs in Thoth. Yeah.
It is a beautiful picture, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the most beautiful artwork. Really is.
Right. So that's also probably Capricorn as well, because Pentacles is Earth, and so I
Mm.
just saw that there's the goat on there as well.
There is the ram, of course, and it's Taurus season. So,
Oh, okay. Wow. And
well,
also we're both very resourceful, right?
yeah.
And stable. Okay. Can we have some guidance? Thank you. I've noticed this with the cards. I can shuffle them for ages. I have to actually talk to them. Can we have some? Oh, thank you. Do you see that? I have to actually say, please, can I have some guidance? Please, can we have some guidance? Is there anything else? Anything else you want to say, cards? Thank you. And anything else? Okay. We have four. They're
Okay.
face down. So we'll just give a little brief overview and then see what comes up.
Yes.
Ace of Swords, something new, like a breakthrough, or perhaps it could be a new venture connected to sharing thoughts, opinions, ideas,
Mhm.
communication. Of course, swords is air and it represents our thoughts, our beliefs and communication. And it's a brilliant new idea. There you go. But we're having lots of these at the moment, aren't we? Lots of aha moments, lots of um, like bright ideas coming in, basically.
Mm. Clarity. Yeah.
Clarity. Good word. Good word. You see, you remembered the right words at the right time. Clarity. And then, of course, followed by the Three of Pentacles. Perfect, 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 because this is collaboration. There is an energy of studying here and being rewarded for this collaboration and whatever work it is that you're doing here. Pentacles. So it's something career orientated or abundance orientated. Okay. So yeah, it's leading on. So a bright idea that leads us to collaborating with other people. And uh, we've got lots of thoughts going on here. Nightmares, astral traveling, anxiety, things that keep you awake at night, worst case scenarios. This card, Nine of Swords, is about negative thinking, worry, and stress. And the last card is the Queen of Swords, who, of course, is the let go card. And she, of course, is also, being a sword, she's also on the level of thinking. So and she can see clearly now. You said clarity.
Mm.
And she can see clearly now because look, the clouds are down here and she can see clearly here. And this butterfly shows the transformation that occurs when you just let go. There's butterflies in her crown as well. When you let go. We've done a video on let go, haven't we?
Yeah,
What does let go look like? Because it there's so many things that we need to let go of.
and the thing I always talk about is letting go of your stories, which is the nine of swords. Yeah, it's just story, story, story. It's all the negative self-talk that we have about the, we have a brilliant idea, and then we go to start it, and then it's like, oh no, but what if this, and what if they, and what if I, and oh God, no, it'll be a disaster. But then the queen is there to tell us, no, just stop the stories, stop listening to the stories, go with your original idea of the ace, go with it. They both swords going up, so it's higher thought. It's like connect divinely guided thought. The other thoughts are down on this plane, the plane that doesn't really exist, that is all illusion, it's all story.
Definitely. And it's good that it's come after this one because this one implies the Three of Pentacles implies that we've already made a start on whatever it is. And maybe it's that start that we're worrying about. It's like, oh, I've started it. It doesn't seem to be a success yet. Or maybe we're collaborating with people and not
And
feeling
it
the
hasn't quite
love
worked. Yes.
between us or with them or something. So a lot of these negative thoughts could be born out of this first step. This threes are very much like your first step, definitely in the right direction. I mean, it's all supported and everything. So this would relate to some doubts that we have about maybe this is not going the way that we thought it would. And she's saying, oh, be quiet.
Yeah. Just just be patient, let it go. It'll all the just keep going in the direction, that you had your first thought. Just keep going with it and just see how it works out. Trust.
And it's interesting that you had the Queen of Pentacles.
Mm,
It's
yeah,
like just keep going to the Queen of Pentacles because she's, influential and resourceful and stable and secure and abundant.
abundance. Yeah.
She's got all her pentacles, so she is totally abundant. And yeah, and the Queen of Swords is saying, let go of anything that is stopping you from
And
feeling that.
she's looking behind her. See? She's looking
Okay.
off behind her. So, you know, it's like she's looking at all she has accumulated throughout her life, all of her skills, all of her experiences. Um, and here she is now, the queen. Um, so it's like, yeah, just keep going patiently, and don't let your stories divert you. Just keep going, and you'll get the clarity that you need. You'll see, you'll rise above those clouds, and
Yeah.
you'll see the purpose of it.
So can you think of what advice would you give well, how have you in the past, how have you get rid of your stories. It's easier said than done, right?
Yeah, it is. So it's a practice, and it's something. I mean, we've talked about this before, but it's like I in the beginning I had to say, and I still do this, but not. I don't have to do it to the same degree. Just not listening. I'm not listening. I'm not. I drowned out the thoughts, the stories with I'm not listening. 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 I made a song of it, you know. It's like it just it it took over. I had to, it's like a chant or you know, I just said it like a chant. I'm not listening to my stories. I'm not listening to that story that so and so will be critical of it, or so and so mightn't like it, or you know, or I might have made an idiot of myself, or you know, it's like I'm just not listening, not listening, not listening, not listening. I just said it over and over like a chant until eventually my mind went off. It's like I'm just not listening. We might as well just shut up.
Yeah, but with this not listening to the stories, of if then when they're negative stories, that's really important. But what about positive stories that we tell ourselves? Can we
Still
listen to
only a
them?
story. Yeah, and grand, it's grand as a stepping stone, you know, to um it's grand as a stepping stone to getting you to not listen to negative stories. But in the end, we just no story. There's just no story. Go to no story. Because otherwise we're the only positive stories that we should listen to should is if we can honestly say that it's at least as true as the negative story, you know, um, if not more. But just switching a positive story for a negative story doesn't work because we're not, who are we kidding? You know, who are you kidding? Like I, you know, I look in the mirror, I think I'm aging. Um, I can say, no, you know, it's only it's going to stop here, or you know, I can have a story about it that's more positive. But it's like, who am I kidding? I'm not going to
Mhm.
believe that. So I'm better off having no story whatsoever about it. I am what I am. That's all. That's all it is.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
I think it does depend. Well, from where I'm coming from, it depends what examples we have in our head, doesn't it? Because with that example, then yes, I would totally agree with you. No story. But if it was something like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve love, or I'm not worthy of whatever, or I'm not good enough to do whatever the next step is with this. Um, that was the way I kind of looked at it, was like this. If this is the beginning, you're starting something, and then there's a next step now to take whatever this project is, you are the project, but whatever this activity is, to the next level. And then maybe this is, yeah, but I don't have enough money to do that. I don't know the right people. I don't have the right technological skills, or I'm not good enough. Who am I to expand into whatever it might be? So with something like I'm not worthy, then you are worthy. We're all worthy, or I'm not lovable. Yes, you are. Not only are you lovable, but you're actually love. You are the love. Things like that. That's still a story, though, isn't it? I mean, you are the love, right?
I still think you're better off without any story. No, just not listening to any stories.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. But there is a stepping stone, like you said, because I would say I'm not worthy isn't a true story. Whereas you are worthy, I am worthy is a true story. And then you don't
But
need
you,
any
but
story.
if you don't fully believe that, which you if you think you're not worthy, just saying I am worthy isn't going to um, blank that out, you know, isn't going to counteract it. So you're so skip to no story.
Yes,
If
I see where you're coming from, except on this channel, I do have videos that how to reprogram your subconscious mind. And I've
sure,
seen some amazing results from people who are installing the positive belief that is counteracting a negative belief. So I actually disagree
Sure.
there. I think there are ways, and also affirmations, they may take a while. Um, chapter one,
I
book
I'm
one,
not saying they don't work.
they
I'm just
work after a while.
my impatience.
Yeah.
I'm Gemini. Just cut to the quick, get there, like no story.
But
You
in
know.
one of the things I mentioned in this book, the Lessons in Awakening, is I've kind of shifted from affirmations, which do take a while, to beliefs, positive beliefs, which then can be quicker with with the brain integration activities, like affirmations on speed dial or on steroids or what have you. But then in this book, I talk about a quantum command where you realize that you are the creator of your own reality. And so just say it, just say it and be who you say, kind of thing. But then that's still a story. A quantum command is still a story. When you
Mm,
quantum command is just like, no, I'm choosing for it to be like this, boom, and saying it and feeling the shift and the self-realization, feeling that aha as you say it, because as you say it, you're feeling your frequency aligning with the frequency of whatever it is that you are saying. Um, so that makes sense. But you're taking it even further, saying no story.
yeah, but maybe I think different. Like I said, I'm Gemini, so I cut to the chase. It's like I can't be bothered with the middle bit. I get bored, right? Just it's like just get me to where I want to be. But actually, in hindsight, there was a process there. But maybe just being Gemini, I cut through that process a little bit quicker. Um, so, somebody who's heavy in Taurus or, is going to have to take the steps or, a little bit slower. So I think it's not like, yeah, I think there's different ways for different people or different types.
Just
And there is
eliminate.
only me.
Yeah, but it is about eliminating thinking, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, that's the goal is to eliminate the idea that it's to step back into the I am, and that everything after that, it's the knowing then that everything after I am is part of the illusion of the reality that we live. But not, yeah, not all of me is there yet.
Yeah, but also with the Queen of Swords, um, as I said, she's a let go. She's a let go. So she is, although she's swords, which is thinking, she's also let go of the thinking, which is really, we think that's what meditation is about emptying the mind completely. And I think that's what puts a lot of people off meditation is because, they, even if they're not negative mind, thoughts, when we're giving ourselves that solitude, that silence, and that stillness, monkey chatter. There's the monkey chatter going on. So I think one of the steps is also not to worry about the monkey chatter. Don't judge it. That's what I want to say with her. I
Yeah.
think um, if she has any thoughts still flowing, I don't think she's judging them.
She's
Uh,
not attached. She's cut her attachment to the thoughts. It's not that, and meditation, I think we used to think that it was about emptying the mind, and then you get very frustrated when you can't empty your mind. But I think most teachers now are saying, no, it's about watching the thoughts, but from a little bit of distance. It's detaching from the thoughts and noticing the monkey mind and realizing that that's not you.
Hmm. And but not judging it either, and
And
not
not
judging
judging,
yourself.
not attaching to any particular thought. And using the sword to cut the attachment to the story, to
Yeah.
the thought, to the belief.
Yes, and yeah, it's making me think now of the section in here where I talk about the balloon analogy, which of
Yeah.
course you were the one that shared that with me. Would you like to share the balloon analogy? Because I've done a video on it and on its own as well, and it's got a whole section in this book. It was very, very powerful for me, very, very helpful. And as you were the one that told me about it in the beginning.
You can correct me if I get it wrong. It's like, so it was really powerful for me too. And it's that thoughts are like balloons, and there's a whole bunch of balloons up there, and they're all just flowing past, and they've all got these strings hanging down. It's like, um, you can come up with ideas of all the thoughts. I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other. She's this, they're that. This shouldn't be. This should be. All of every thought that comes in, the monkey mind. It's a whole array, infinite array of thoughts, all the different colors and hues, and all these strings hanging down. And I can pull a thought in, and I can look at it, and I can deal with it, and I can talk to it, and I can play with it. I can believe in it. I can pop it. But equally, I can just let the string go and just let it float on by and pull another one in and let it go, and have no attachment to it. If I hang on to it and say, this is my belief, this is mine, it's like, this is me, this balloon describes me, is everything I stand for. Then, like, something will come along and pop that balloon, and who are you? Like, who am I if I'm not that balloon, if I'm not that thought, if I'm not that belief? Who the hell am I? Well, this is it. Who's even thinking that thought, you know? So just let the balloons float. They can come in, they can go out, have no attachment to them. They're not mine, they're just thoughts.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Yes, I find that so inspiring. And I think where it helped me the most is not being attached to the balloon. It's okay to have the thoughts because we're having thoughts now. We're reading cards, and that's like, I have a belief that this card means this, so I'm bringing in that. But if somebody then said, no, Deborah, this card means blah, 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 it's not that I'm changing my belief. What it is that I'm not attached to that belief. I don't need to defend that belief. I think that was what really made a difference for me, was that I don't need to defend that belief. And then you can hold the balloon that says the Queen of Swords is something completely different. But if we take it to um, on the world stage, that's where it really helps. You might look at something on the world stage and have a belief and be really quite adamant, here's my thought, and I'm quite adamant about this. This is the belief that I have, um, blah, blah, blah. But
And
somebody
loads
else,
of evidence to back that belief and
oh
opinion
yes,
up.
more
More and
balloons.
more
I've got a whole
balloons.
bunch
It's
of
like,
them.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of
I'm
us,
reminded of the Ten of Wands. Yeah.
exactly. Well, you can hold on to them all. But you can hold on to them because you can talk about them if you want, right? That's not the point. The point is, if somebody has collected the contrary balloons, but thoughts, and are saying, they've got all their research because, of course, we're all creating our own reality. So whatever we focus on, whatever you look for, you will find. So they've got all their evidence to back up their thoughts. I don't need to start pushing my balloons onto them.
I don't have to pop their balloons.
Well,
No.
I don't need to pop their balloons. I don't need to do anything, right? The only thing is I can hold on to my balloons or I can let them go. But the point is not to be attached to them and not to feel that you have to defend them.
Yeah.
Because it brings me back to actually, it was like David Hawkins' teachings. We know I love David Hawkins and his teachings, but you can't change the thoughts of somebody else. You can talk about your thoughts and things like this, are great to talk about different things. It will help, anyone watching, it will help them go, oh, yes, I agree with that. Or, oh, no, I don't agree with that. And it will help them pick balloons and let balloons go and stuff like that. But sometimes we do have aha moments from listening to other people if what they say resonates. And that aha moment can lead to self-realization. So it's all good. I'm not saying that we shouldn't share the balloons, the thoughts
Mm.
behind the balloons that we're holding. I have to say that because I'm someone that talks about my balloons. But it is about not being attached. So when somebody says the opposite, say, I've got the opposite balloon and your balloon is wrong, that's when I'm going to let go of my balloon. Not because I don't believe in my balloon, but because I'm not attached to it enough I don't need to discuss it with anybody. And the only person that can change your balloons is you. Nobody else. Somebody else can encourage you to share a
And
balloon
the
with them.
looser you kind of, the more used you get to pulling in a balloon, letting it go, pulling in another one, letting it go, the easier it gets to let them go. And the easier it is to listen to somebody else's opinions and ideas and thoughts because you realize that they're just balloons that they've pulled in. And there is only me, so it's just another balloon that I have, really. Sorry, I
Yeah.
keep coming back to that because yeah, you know, that idea that there is only me, and I experience my life in a unique way, and so anything that brings another idea into my reality is still me. It's still another bit of me that's showing up. That that showing me that I can actually hold contradictory
Yeah.
beliefs and thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. It's making me think of Shakespeare's quote of, there is no right and wrong. There is only your thinking that makes it so. There doesn't have to be a right and wrong, because there are different levels, aren't there? I mean, it's like divine truth. There are different levels of it, and what looks like truth at one level could be different at another level. And, it kind of, can, like you say, we can have contrary, thoughts as well.
Mm,
So
mm.
it's about that's why I said about her the Queen of Swords, um, not judging, not judging somebody else because of the balloons that they're carrying is a big one.
Not judging a negative story to a story to be either negative or positive. It's still a
Yeah.
story. It's just a story.
Yes. And that is
Part of the
beautiful because
illusion.
now that's reminded me of Rumi's quote, there is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. And I think yeah, when you look at it from a soul level and you see that it's all part of the human experience and even, like the chaos going on in the world, it's serving, it's helping people see what they want to create and what they don't want to create. It's helping people see, things that they didn't know. It's the truth coming to light, and there's a lot of that going on, obviously. But also that tower card of collapse and disruption and chaos, when we see that around us or that drama, I always remember that the tower card comes before the star card. And the star card, of course, is heaven on earth. And I often think that, we're creating heaven on earth, which of course is born out of or manifested from a level of consciousness, Christ levels of consciousness. We're creating heaven on earth, but in order for to get there, we've got to let go of and cut, like let go of so many balloons, and to cut our attachment to so many things. And you touched on this, Liz, because you said about identities. What if your identity was attached to, certain thoughts about who you were? And then suddenly you're not that person, whether it be, I don't know, somebody's wife or the head of a company or, being a wealthy person or the owner of a certain car. I don't know. I mean, there's all sorts of identities, aren't there? And this is one of the things I thought about, um, introducing people, even for this, truth and tarot time. When you introduce people, you tend to use identities to introduce them. I was going to say for you, I was going to say, I mean, Liz is an amazing artist. She is sitting in front of one of her own beautiful paintings. Um, and, but of course, that's an identity, being an artist, which, is a balloon that I'm sure you're holding, but you're not attached to it, right? So, but it's the same with lots of things, isn't it? If when people say, what do you do? Especially if they say, what do you do for a living? Then I'll often say, breathe. But if someone says, what do you do? I never know what to say because I'm not quite sure what activities I identify with more.
Yeah, but I think well, I think that's probably a good thing is that, keep just whatever comes out of your mouth is the right thing at the time. But it's okay to have a few words that describe your identity, um, or to have a name and an address, and it's okay to have all of these things because they help us to operate in this 3D world. It helps us to play. We're playing a part.
Yeah.
We're playing different parts, and I in earlier uh, times in this life, I was playing different parts, and so I had different titles or different identities, I guess. And so it's just, yeah, it's realizing that you do keep changing, and so there's no point in getting attached
Yeah.
to anything.
Not being attached to identities. And yeah. And the other thing that I want to say about the Queen of Swords, is someone said it recently. I was doing a Facebook and YouTube live, and someone said it on there that she's a sign of loving indifference. And because when we talk about indifference, um, well, in English, when we talk about indifference, it does tend to have a negative connotation, almost like, oh, I don't care, I'm indifferent. Sorry?
That's the story.
Yeah, well, yes, but yeah. But when you say indifference, like if you're looking at the suffering in the world, right, and then someone says, oh, they're indifferent to it, then that wouldn't sound great. But loving indifference, I love that because that's what I think she is. I think she's got this loving indifference. So the indifference is what we were saying about there is no right, there is no wrong. And the indifference is where you get to when you finally release all your judgments. That's a state of indifference. When you release all your stories, as you're saying, that's a place of indifference because you've got no story to tell you right or wrong, good or bad. negative, positive. So that's a place of indifference, but it's not coming from a lack of compassion. It's coming from a heart full of love. It's coming from a place of expansion, I want to say.
It also comes from a place of knowing, yeah, it is expansion, but no, of knowing that we come from, that everything comes from the void and everything goes back to the void, and that, it's just this expression. Everything is just being an expression of consciousness, and so there's no judgment of it, and that's why that's why I said, she has the clarity. She's above the hoi polloi. She's above the clouds of the illusion in the material world. Am I going too high now?
No, no,
Um,
no. It's reminding
but
me of that analogy that I think we've talked about before with the department store.
yeah,
Tell us
yeah.
that one. Tell us that story, Liz.
Okay, not my story. I think it was Carolyn Miss that I heard it from originally. It was about but I've heard it since as well. But yeah, so when you're on the first floor of the department store, well, it was the house. She was talking about a five-story house or something. But it's so you go in at the ground floor and you're looking out the window and you're seeing maybe the neighbors arguing or the dog peeing or somebody dropping some litter, or you're also seeing nice stuff. You're seeing a couple walking hand in hand down the road, but you're involved. You're involved with it all. You see it all. You've got you've got a judgment about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, or um, and then you move up to the second floor and you can still see it all, and you're still involved. But the higher you go, when you're up on that fifth floor or seventh floor, they're just little ants down there. You can't see, is that a man or a woman, or, is that a dog or a cat? Um, you can't see the detail. You don't know the characters. You don't have any prejudgment about, oh, that's that nasty person, or that's that lovely neighbor, or you don't have any of those judgments about it, and so you're just a little bit detached from the drudge, the hoi polloi. You're yeah, you're above it, and so you don't yeah, you don't think about it. It's like rising up in a balloon. It's another analogy I heard recently. So you're in a hot air balloon, you're in the basket. And when you're in the basket on the ground, still the world is going on. But every time you breathe, if you take an in breath, the balloon is getting bigger and you start to rise up, and so you start to cut the ties, the anchors, whatever, you let go of the ropes, and you start to rise, and every time you breathe out, the balloon goes up, and every time you breathe in, the balloon gets bigger, and you breathe out and the balloon goes up. It's like you can hear the um the burner going, and so you breathe in and you fill it with oxygen, and then you breathe out, and the heat helps it to rise, and you're getting further and further from the problem or the issue that you had when you were down on the ground. And you can cut a sandbag, and you can either cut the sandbag and let it drop, or you can just puncture the sandbag and let it just spill out slowly, and so you rise more smoothly. And it's a lovely thing to do when you're stuck in an issue or a problem that's going round and round in your head. Is just breathe, and imagine yourself rising above it. Because then you're like the Queen of Swords. You're above the clouds and you get some clarity up there. You can sit up there till you get clarity on whether the issue down there actually matters or not and what to do about it.
I think that's amazing advice. Because they do say, don't they, that you can't solve a problem from the level of consciousness where the problem was created. So whatever the situation, you need to rise up and look at it from that higher perspective. I like the bit about the sandbags because sometimes we do have aha moments, don't we? Where, we can have a massive, aha moment and you can actually feel it and the effects of it can be really quite quick. It could be a little bit maybe tower card-ish in a way. Like if you've cut a whole sandbag and you throw it down in one go, the balloon's going to go, it's going to seem unstable, but it's still going in the right direction, but it's going to go a little bit wobbly. So that's a
Plus, you're dropping it on, you're dropping a bomb basically on your life.
so that's
So
that's a
you can
tower
either drop
card.
a bomb on your life, or the issue or whatever it is, or you can do it slowly. There's no right
Exactly.
or wrong. It's
Just puncture the sandbags, slowly and just let it, because you're going to go up all the time. And I love it because I haven't heard that one before. Because first of all, it shows us how important the breath is. And we can't ignore that. That is like, I mean, your body without your breath isn't you. So our breath is everything, not just oxygen. It's everything, isn't it? But
inspiration and expiration.
exactly. And so just by being, what that implies is just by being, just by breathing, and just by being aware, you're actually going to rise and expand into
Mm-hmm.
um, higher levels of perception, And so the view gets really lovely up there. Like you said, like I think the reason that the version I heard of the house or the department store, I think it was a department store because I don't know whether it was Caroline Mist, I don't know, it was another version I heard maybe, but they were throwing in the money thing as well because on the ground floor, there's all these things that you want to buy in the department store, but you can't afford them and you haven't got the money. And then you go up and you realize that now you can buy some of these things if you want. And then you go up. And then when you get to the top floor, you realize that, you've got everything you need and everything is free anyway because there's all this conscious exchange going on. And yeah, they threw that bit in as well. Um, and also the view, because of course, the higher up, if you're in a city, the higher up you go, you can see over the rooftops and then you can see some trees and then you can maybe see some mountains or the sea or something. So yeah, the view is much better up there
Yes,
from
by the time you reach the top floor, you realize you have everything you need. So you didn't need all that stuff that you thought you needed.
exactly, exactly. Um, but also there's this, I want to bring it back to the indifference because I think that's really important. I mean, I remember at school having what they called sixth form debates, and
Mm.
even as a talker, I dreaded them because, and I think one of the reasons that I dreaded it was because we had to defend. You've got an opinion and then someone's arguing, whether it's your opinion or not. It was like a drama, public speaking. I don't know what it was meant to practice, but you're either given an opinion or you're saying your own. But then, of course, it's devil's advocate, so they're going to shoot you down to help you stand up for yourself or to help you, And if I'd known the balloon analogy then, I would have just gone, no, I've let go of my balloons. I don't need to defend my balloons.
No, but
Fail.
but you can for the fun of it. It's just then you don't. It's like what good lawyers or advocates do in court. They're arguing away. They're really arguing their point, and then they go out and have lunch together. It's like
Yeah.
because it's not personal.
Yes, yes. But maybe it's just that, where I don't know, the way I was brought up or the way I perceived my upbringing or what have you. But I had a programming um, that basically said that everybody needed to have an opinion. It was an
Yeah,
intellectual thing. It was,
yeah.
if you didn't have an opinion on something, then you
You were
weren't very
empty-headed.
clever, you know.
You were empty-headed. I mean, there was
Exactly. You had to
nothing
have an
more
opinion.
insulting than telling somebody they were empty-headed. And now there's nothing I want more than to be empty-headed.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's fun because I kind of sometimes I can see some progress with that. Like I'll hear people talking about something and I'll sit there and I think, well, the old Deborah, the old Deborah would have waded in now with what she would have called home truths.
Yeah, yes. Oh, I had loads of those. Oh my God.
Oh, bless
I'm
you.
sure I still do. I don't listen to myself anymore. I don't listen to
You,
myself
but
because
it's like you said, it's for fun.
yeah, yeah. If I can do it in fun, I'll wade in absolutely because then I'm not attached to whether I get attacked or not, or I can let it go. If somebody comes up with a better idea, I'll go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, not attached to it. So I'm not really defending it, but I can have fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we did come here to play and
Yeah.
to have
Totally.
fun with things.
Really cold.
Um, but I think that's a really valuable point about stories. And it's like when we know now that everybody at a soul level has chosen their adversity or their suffering for the purpose of evolving and growing. And that's where it needs to be loving indifference and not just indifference, because a lot of people naturally and understandably want to go into the story of their suffering. They want to go into the
Yeah.
yes, but. I remember this with you though. I remember wanting to tell you something that had happened, and you were like, "It's story, Deborah, it's story." And I remember almost pleading with you, "But can I tell you my story?" I was like, "Can I tell?"
Oh,
You
right.
could see how desperate I was at the time, and you were, "Okay, tell me your story. Can you make it a short one?" I'm like, "No, because it's a story. It's all convoluted, and I'm
Yes.
right and they're wrong,
And
and
they're wrong.
yeah."
Always.
And so
Always. I'm
there
right
is a
there.
place, there is a place for that. I think it does depend, where you're coming from and what have you. But I think it's important that whatever the story, that you understand that it's a story. That's the point, isn't it?
That's the point. Yeah.
And
That
it's
is the
not
point.
about changing the story or even trying to change anyone else in the story.
Or not,
It's
it's
not
not even
do.
changing yourself in the story. It's just about understanding that it's a story and letting it go.
It's part of the human experience, I like
Mm,
to say.
mm,
When we can see it all as being just part of the human experience, let it go. She's
yeah.
definitely a let it go card.
Mm, mm,
Let it go. And loving indifference to yourself.
right.
I mean, we talked about it with outside world and stuff, but I mean, you know, love yourself enough to let it go because that doesn't look much fun.
No, it's
Get
really
back to that, I say. Get back to creating, collaborating,
having
creating
fun.
abundance.
Yeah.
3 is the magic number. Wow. Thank you, Liz. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming and sharing your analogies and stories.
Well,
Oh, stories, yes.
thank you for giving me the opportunity because it always kind of whenever we have a conversation, whether it's just you and I or whether it's on a recording, it doesn't matter. It's like it's inspiration for me to it kind of shows me what I need to be thinking about or what, or maybe I need to be thinking about this, or maybe I need to look at something in my life from that perspective. what am I missing? Have I missed something? Yeah.
Food for contemplation.
Food for contemplation. That's it. Thank you. See, you always come up with the right words.
I think they usually say food for thought,
Yeah.
but I thought contemplation's a better word.
Contemplation's much better. Yeah.
Contemplation is such an amazing word and thing to do. So hopefully we've given ourselves, each other, and anyone watching some food for contemplation.
I
Is there
like it.
anything you would like to say or share before we say goodbye?
No, I think covered everything really. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything
I
you'd like? Anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I was just going to say I will put your email address in the description if anybody would like to find out more about your artwork. And she does do commissions and whatever you want and blah, blah, blah. Um, but definitely, yeah. It's a shame that you want a little gallery with all of them behind or something, so that people can see how wonderful your paintings are. But yeah, so if you want a painting done at all, her email address is in the description.
Oh, I have a story that's a story that you shouldn't have told.
Really? I don't edit anything apart
Well,
from putting my jingle on, so I won't be able to edit it out.
you
So
could, it's very easy to edit.
we'll just have to, no, I think we should just be indifferent about it. I think that's a story that you need to let go of.
Equanimous.
Yes.
Hmm.
Thank you, Liz. And thank you
Thank you.
to anyone that got to the end of the video. And
Yes, hopefully not many did.
oh, speak for yourself. I want everyone to get to the end of the video. Um,
Okay.
okay, we will see you next time. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Bye.
Bye for now.